The United States has suspended immigrant visa processing for people from 75 different countries. And it just so happens that most of these countries are places inhabited by people of color, but not my country, Trinidad and Tobago. And many of my fellow Trimbagonians are celebrating this as some kind of victory. They have told me it was all worth it, for our prime minister to ignore the killing of our civilians and for our country to be used as a base of operations for the United States to launch an invasion of Venezuela and kidnap their head of state. So all of these things are just the price that we pay to be able to travel freely to the United States and perhaps to immigrate there. And I completely understand the desire to see the world and to seek out opportunities far from home, especially for people from small countries like mine. I myself have been a migrant in various countries at different points in my life. Hell, I'm in another country right now, although where I am right now is very friendly to migrants, far away from the clutches of ICE. My ancestors also migrated to the Caribbean a few generations ago, seeking a better life, fleeing all of those conditions that existed in the 19th century in what has come to be known since then as India. As a species, we have always moved in order to survive and to prosper. And it's only really after the Second World War or so that all of the bureaucracy and legislation that now exists for people who want to move to another nation have been put in place. But I'm really startled by the desire of anybody who looks like me right now to want to visit or migrate to the United States of America. I feel like you have to have a very limited sense of self-preservation, or your head has to be buried so far in the sand. They are literally hunting humans who look like us, rounding them up and sending them to God knows where, including children. Most of these people are not criminals, as they say. Most of these people are just regular people who are trying to create a better life for themselves and their families. They are even just now openly shooting people in the street, including white American citizens. So a lot of people have pointed out this seemingly perpetual cycle that leads to migration as we know it today. That is the destabilization of quote unquote developing countries, not just through military actions, but through economic tactics. Say, for example, the structural adjustment policies that I grew up with in the Caribbean that caused so much migration in my parents' generation. And as a result of these things, those of us who are able to often go to the heart of empire because the opportunities are much more plentiful there. And some of us come from groups that are not safe in our countries of origin, and really we don't have a choice but to try to go to a place where our identities are not a death sentence. The truth is, though, that many of us, perhaps most of us who are out in the world, would love nothing more than to be able to go back to where we came from and live safely and be able to prosper. But here's the paradox that I've been thinking a lot about lately. We do everything we can to go to these new countries, often to get treated like crap, and in many ways to have a lower quality of life. But the real tragedy, I think, is that we then devote a lifetime of labor to help to build a machine that is further destroying our countries and creating more migration. It's a horrible cycle. I saw someone commenting on this situation appealing to fellow migrants and saying, we are all building a monster. And that's what it is. We're all out here building a monster. So the one bright spot in all of the evils that we are seeing right now in places like Minneapolis is that maybe it will start to shatter the delusions that some of us have about the promised land. And maybe this will be the century in which the power of those who sabotage other nations for their own gain will wane.